Good tidings and peace to all. This was very unexpected, as is usually my rhythm or lack thereof. So I'm falling into this terrible habit where I'm trying to share the process of what it is like being somewhat bipolar, um, like myself. And the habit that I'm falling into is about every hi guys. Every weekend that I reach after my 50-hour week goes by, hello to everybody, and it was I don't know what I expected. We often build things up in our minds, right? So I'm just gonna dive right in. I have to go to work soon. I have to brush off the funk that is the past 3 days. It you know what with anything that has to do with individuals that are like not in the present. My wish is truly that we don't there's no bother, there's no ill intent. Like I feel, at least regardless of everything, that inherently we're all decent people just trying to do something somewhat right. I know there's other channels and there's other people and individuals that have done some things that are unexcusable, but at least for the individuals that have been brought up thus far, there's no ill will, there's no ill intent. And I just, right now, I needed this as my catharsis. Cheaper than a therapist, someone once said. And I'm going to close my eyes to get through this, because I have isolated for the past 3 days. It's the worst thing you can do when you struggle with depression or bipolar. Um, so yeah, I have spent some time going to the woods, and I've had no cell phone. For this is day 4 of no cell phone. It's a charger thing, of course, not the actual phone itself. But somebody that I really don't deserve, somebody that cares a lot about my well-being and my health, my mental health. Despite anything, it's always most popular to kind of go along with things that are happening seemingly seemingly helplessly, as it's easier to go with the tide than go against the tide, right? So something that I will share from this experience is that I am a little amazed but not offended. Again, I don't have any cancerous, vile negativity or toxicity in my heart. I can't for the sake of my own survival. But I am a little shocked at how quickly somebody whom hypothetically has been so ride or die like every single day since my existence on this platform, of which is a blessing, to just one day hit a switch for other no other reason that I can articulate or understand than that I have not been present as often as others to constantly be here and fill, I don't know, the void or the space. I can't, between my mental health and my job. It's and my own procrastination. I am not a fucking role model. By God, I hope nobody ever looked to me as that. I recognized I overpromised when I started this endeavor, when some people even recently were reaching me, my personal phone number, and saying, you're starting to disappoint me and frustrate me. You told me you'd call me. I have spoken to over 100 people in this 4-month journey, and I have revealed the greatest answer to myself, folks. I'm human, and I'm not that best of one at that. But with that, I wanted to share something that was sent to me that is going to it's going to help me through the day, because before I know it, I'm going to have to be focused and sharp and do a job where I have to take charge and deal with the vendors. So let's get some motivation, and hopefully maybe somebody out there. The only reason I ever endeavored, oh, and here, so you can see what it looks like after 3 days isolation. You're damn right. I'm gonna show you. Ready for a flash? This is Girls Gone Wild. Only it's the bipolar edition, progressive patriot style. Okay. Yeah. Oh man, has it really come to that? People are, nah. I'm not gonna respond to all that. Okay. So yeah, I look a fucking wreck. That's okay. Now I'm gonna play some motivational shit.
And I suppose the rest of you were waiting for me to vomit out some profound words of wisdom. Listen, the world needs people like you. The world is literally dying for your kind. Embrace that responsibility and move on with it.
The world is
Get out
literally
there, prevent
dying
greed,
for
give
your
back.
kind. Give back. Something that I was thinking about before I knew I would have to go out and face the world after living like a freaking hobbit is that sometimes to strive for my own inner happiness, which is usually lacking, I try to pull out the happiness from others, meaning generate it and make positivity in the space that I fill. And in return, in response, as selfish as it may sound, I would try to make the people I'm going to meet or serve or deal with today happy or laugh in a pursuit of making that spread and so that I can feel it within my heart and my bones.
It's not going to be easy. Never going to be easy. For much of it, you'll stand alone, but you've got to stand strong. And I beg you, do not.
I started my day asking my mother, who's I think nearly 81, how she was able to concretely land on being such a woman of faith. We always talk about existential. I completely destroyed that word. Existential, metaphysical, just insanity, and I cherish these mornings very much.
Not give in to mediocrity like the other 98% of the world. Because you would be doing yourselves and the world a great disservice. You're all too smart. You're too smart to let it go to waste. And you've got one shot at this, one fucking shot.
That's Johnny Depp if you haven't recognized it.
Don't let a moment slip by.
Trying,
Grab
buddy.
it, snatch it up, make it yours.
Trying.
Celebrate every moment. Celebrate every fucking breath.
I'm trying.
I'm telling you, life, it's a bird's song.
Ominous music, foreshadowing.
One of the greatest pieces of advice I've ever gotten in my life was from my mom. When I was a little kid, she was a kid.
Mothers have this thing with wisdom. When are we going to catch on, people? Go right now if you have the opportunity, go hug your mother, okay? Go find the picture, give it a kiss, call her up, say I love you, do something just right now. Do it.
Kid who was bugging me in school. And she said, "Okay, I'm gonna tell you what to do." She said, "The kid's bugging you."
Here, I'll tell on myself and I'll get a little bit more interpersonal. So I this morning find myself talking to my mother, and I guess, I have a way at really overcomplicating simple words as you can hear me articulate a simple sentence and make it into something that's like way too fancy than it should be. And I was just like, how did you grow to be at peace in such a way, with all the trials and tribulations? How did you do it? I guess in my own way, and I'm paraphrasing, I asked, what is your advice to me? If I was, I shared with her, look, I flippantly, meaning not like in my 20s when I would obsess over self unaliving, okay, but I probably horrifically selfishly, I said, look, sometimes flippantly, I'll be like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna go out to the grocery store today, pick up some beans, rice, and I might just go fucking, take a long walk off a short pier, that not the words I used. And I'd be like, what would be your advice to that? And you know what she says? She simply said, try believing in God. I don't think the humor was lost upon her. because she knows I've always struggled with spirituality. Not like the days when I was a young boy and we would talk about church and God and we'd talk about how much it was nice to have faith. But I've struggled very much with my own spirituality. And I'm very interested in seeing what this renewed interest in spirituality and the conversation goes without offending, just for the sake of communication. If we turn away from conversation, then what value are we really putting out there or seeking? It's so much easier to let things fester, to be angry. Remember, it's easier to go with the tide than it is to go against it. So I think it's easiest to throw that first punch in anger than it is to sort things out. But now I'm getting a little too in myself and meta. I'm gonna go back, hide myself, and play the rest of this before I gotta shower and do the jobby job.
He puts his hands on you. You pick up the nearest rock or whatever you can get your hands on, and you lay him out. And I did. And I felt better.
Word.
It worked.
All right, moral of the story. Anybody bugs you today, you find a rock or something heavy and lay him out, and life will be perfect. No, that's joking. Jokes aside, please, nobody take that as incitement. That was totally entertainment or humorous.
So, for me,
Just be sure to say Progressive Patriot sent you.
that was a great lesson because someone had invaded my space, invaded my being, and I was doing something against me that I didn't want to be done. So I took control of the situation and I ran with it. And I promised myself that I would continue to move forward and do my best not to compromise in any way whatsoever.
Hey,
Not
Joy
allow
Warrior,
anyone to put their hands
share.
on me and affect me in that way.
Ali.
So that's the best advice I think I could give is just to keep moving forward and don't give a shit what anybody thinks. Just keep moving forward and do what you have to do for you. I was pumping gas, most definitely.
It's always the simplest fucking things in this world that we will return to, but because of the human condition, we always overcomplicate some of the most simple things. What is the purpose of life? I don't know, self-preservation, and maybe get a few laughs. And yeah, I was gonna say something pretty maybe not YouTube friendly just now, but have a few laughs. Get something out of this life, pleasurable, right? And somehow, though, we are able to self sabotage our own process and build an entire scenario within our own minds without certainty of the reality of things, and already conduct a story that has not even been written yet, where we have surrendered, we are the villain, and we deserve to be unhappy. So I value any story where the moral is to take fucking control.
Printing T-shirts and selling ink pens and I mean anything and everything. Yeah, and then the fact that you have a 20-year career of failures, and then you do a pirate movie, and that buys you an island. I'm still exactly the guy that used to pump gas. I'm still the guy that was a mechanic for a minute. I'm still exactly. I just happen to have a weirder job at the moment. There was a guy who I worked with many years ago, and we were talking about success and money and all that stuff. And he told me this one thing. He said, money doesn't change anybody. Money reveals them.
Huh.
Same thing with success. And I believe that, wholeheartedly. If we could celebrate every breath that we take, because nothing's a guarantee. If we could celebrate the breath and the exhale, which is being alive, without, oh, my car won't start. Oh, geez, the cat dropped dead. Hey,
There's that
I
energy.
think I leave
Keep it coming, baby
maybe.
boy.
I mean, there are things that are very, very important in life that we don't think about. And one of the most worrisome things that I went through for years is you're freaked out about your past. You're worried. You're scared to death of the future, and that's all you're thinking about. But the now doesn't exist, you know. And I think that's a grave mistake that we make. Somebody hands you the ball, and you run. You know, I mean, and if you get hit, you get hit.
It's always the unknown, and without great risk, there can be no reward.
Maybe you make it through. You never know. But I mean, I just know that somebody handed me the ball at a certain point, and I was hungry enough to keep running, and I'm still running. I maintain a hunger, but not an ambition. You know, I'm very happy to explore all possibilities of a character and really, dive in um, to the role. I mean, even to the point of where Disney wanted to fire me. They wanted to fire you from Pirates. Yeah, because they couldn't understand what I was doing. They didn't understand the character. They were actually were contemplating subtitling the film. Well, I was already, as I started playing the guitar at the age of 12. I felt a passion for it yeah, it was the first real passion that I had, and I can safely say, because I feel, and I felt then that the word ambition has become dirty.
Thanks for bearing with me,
Yeah,
by the
because
way.
ambition somehow
Sorry I didn't get
implies
dolled
that.
up for the moment.
So ambition was a dirty word to me because it felt like you were working for some gain or material or some status or. So I literally don't remember going through puberty because I locked myself in a room at the age of 13, and just played the guitar, learned things off records, and taught myself how to play. And it was my life. Um, and it was the only solace. It was the only sanctuary. It was the only security. It was my first love. There were other things that I probably should have done, not from my perspective. I mean, from my
It's
point of view, I
almost
did the
done.
right things.
I
Every
have to get
film
going soon
that I've
anyway.
done, I'm happy that I made that choice. I don't have any regrets whatsoever. But I mean, in terms of sustaining box office, bankability, I should have done a few of the things that I didn't do. But I'm glad I didn't do that because it wouldn't have been you. Yeah, but it would have been for the wrong reason. I did everything that I've been lucky enough to do. I did for the right reason. You have to realize that whatever your day is, whatever you're doing, whatever your job is, whatever people think of you or project you to be, none of it matters really until you look around and see people who are in need. And I think that probably the best benefit of my job is to help, to make people smile who otherwise wouldn't or couldn't have a smile on their face. So yeah, that's my deal.
In my in the smallest sense, in the very smallest sense, on the grand scape here, I can only hope that when I walk away from this moment with you amazing people that have given me infinite amount of options, opportunities, chances, and heard me and watched me stumble, crawl, fall, and get up again, as I will continue to do until my final day. Uh, Today, no matter how timid of a job it is that I have, I will truly try to create happiness by making someone else happy, by saying an off color joke that is totally somewhat inappropriate or spontaneous. And it is that energy that I feed off of on a daily to sustain me, which is why it is the days that I have off where I just drain and I feel like I have no purpose. That is the duality. That is the battle with this bipolar mental health shit. And and that's really it. I mean, I'm trying to document the experience so that it can perhaps be a benefit, so that somebody else can maybe hear some words that are somewhat familiar or comforting and know you're not alone, and and there are people that love and care about you, and it will never matter what people will say about you behind your back, or to even entertain or sustain an empty space of conversation, because it's a lack of something better to do, a reflection of them, not of you. So, with that, thank you. This motivation was for me to maybe get going after the 3 days of slumber, my hibernation, which always backfires, and go about making today a better version of what I was hoping to achieve yesterday. So there I go again, overcomplicating simple sentences. To each and every single one of you, big love, okay? Each and every single one. Not one of you is excluded, even those watching in the background, okay? Ooh, okay. I'm off. Have a hellaciously lovely day, people. One love.